Welcome to the January 2019 Dallas Camera Club Print Competition. Our theme this month is open. Our judge this month is Tammy Paul. Whether Tammy is shooting photojournalism, fine art, nature, or just for herself, she sees photography as more than merely taking a picture. To her, it is expressing the emotions of the moment to the viewer. After 20 years of raising children and teaching children, Tammy decided to follow her passion for photography. She graduated from Texas Women's University with a bachelor's degree of fine art in art with concentrations in fine art photography. Tammy has worked as a freelance photographer for the Denton Record Chronicle, as a photojournalist for TWU's publication, and has also done photographic work for Denton's Chamber of Commerce and their Convention and Visitors Bureau. Her fine art photography has been displayed at Texas Women's University's galleries, as well as at the University of Dallas, the Patterson-Appleton Art Center in Denton, and at Smith's Gallery in Johnson City, Texas. Tammy was the assistant director of the photography for the Denton Thin Line Film, Photo and Music Festival. She has given lectures to numerous camera clubs in the DFW area. Beginner's color. Seagulls at sunset. Good use of diagonal lines and silhouettes with a seagull on every post. Exceptional capture of the sun flare behind the main subject. Try cropping tighter by an inch on the bottom and right side. Sunset at Lake Ray Hubbard. Beautiful silhouette of tree and sunset colors with the clouds slicing through the sun, evoking serenity. Added interest is created with the duck in the foreground. Great use of thirds in your composition with the horizontal lines. The water and part of the sky could be brighter for a more compelling photo. Be careful with the print to avoid scratches. A Walk in the Woods by Elaine Mecca. Peaceful feel invites the viewer in through leading lines. Soft golds and greens pop among the trees and bed of leaves. Excellent printing technique on board. For a series of photos, you could return to the same spot each season. Beauty and the Bug by Donna Griffiths. Colors pop and create balance. Composition is beautifully executed. It fills the frame but is not completely centered, offering a more compelling view. Excellent choice of depth of field. This photo would be improved by a sharper focus on the bug. Watch for dents and spots on the mat. Dancer by Tom Davies. Great capture of the moment. It has a feel of movement in the body while the face is in focus and still. Beautiful use of blacks and low light. Work on the graininess in Photoshop. When shooting in low light, find a balance of stop action and blur and the amount of grain through the shutter speed and ISO. Unknown Soldier, Moscow. Exceptional capture of stop action with the leg in perfect alignment with the wall. I like the play of horizontals and vertical lines, including the soldier's eyes and the foreground. I like the texture of this brick in the background. The viewer's eyes move around to capture all aspects of the photo. This photo tells a story. Exceptional photojournalism. Advanced color. Cadillac Self-Portrait by Delise Foglia. The deep blue sky and the pink color of the fender make the photo pop. Nice composition and depth of field creating sharpness. If you are wanting the concentration to be on the self-portrait, try brightening or raising the contrast in the chrome. It tends to get lost in the power of the colors in the fender and the sky. Frozen Whistles by Steve Havishak. Excellent exposure. Great leading lines. The person standing by the train adds interest. Beautiful blue sky against the white snow and white steam from the train. Bring out some of the details in the engine. I would recommend a white hinged mat. The Street Musician by Larry Golden. An amusing comical character at the main focus, surrounded by items that add to the storytelling aspect of this photo. Excellent depth of field choice with sharp focus on the main character. Well executed exposure. The addition of the box, tip bucket, and sleeping dog adds to the story. Superb capture of the expression. Your matting is distracting from the photo. This photo immediately caught my attention and could have been an award contender had it not been for the matting. The mat is just as important as the print. Three Rivers Petroglyph National Monument by Don Haig. Your focus and colors are sharp and beautiful. The depth of field allows the mountain range on the right to stand out against the blue sky. Try cropping it just below the main rock on the right. As it is, the strongest viewpoint is the bright, empty spot just below the tallest stone. There's too much foreground. By cropping it, you lose the bright spot and put the main focus back on the petroglyphs. Your matting and printing is beautiful. Those Eyes by Sharon Collins. Great depth of field with the sharpness in the eyes. It draws interest in following the design and shape of each feather. Beautifully matted. Play around with the cropping for better balance and composition. Try bringing it an inch or two to the left side. It doesn't necessarily have to be standard size. You might try matte paper or maybe pearl or metallic to bring out the feathers. Peggy's Cove, Heading to the Buoy Shack by Sam Lucas. Great example of balancing patterns. Three distinct vertical objects among horizontal line. The weathered reds of the door, the anchor, and the statue against the old gray wood in the lobster traps, posts and shingles is a wonderful balance of contrast. Try cropping tighter, leaving out the partial window on the right side and the underneath part of the deck. Your matting is excellent. Fiesta by Hal Summer. This photo resembles the golden spiral, giving it a strong visual appeal. The subject, as well as the bright colors, evoke happiness and celebration. Beautiful capture of a moment in time. The focus is sharp on the face, leaning softer with the arm and moving to a gently blurred background. Try brightening up just a tad. It seems ever so slightly underexposed. Sunset at Horseshoe Bend by Clinton Kemp. The exposure of the sunset is beautiful. The array of colors, oranges, blues, and purples, glow. The composition with the clouds and the mountain in the background is compelling. I realize the light is hitting on the rocks in the left bottom corner, but the light is a little overpowering. Try toning it down a little. Ready to Recycle by David Boomstein. This photo tells a story and holds a lot of interest. The eye first rests on the main subject, peering over the immense bags of cans, and then moves around within the scene. There are so many things to contemplate without it being too busy or overwhelming. Excellent composition and great capture of a moment. Try toning down or burning the tops of the bags. Great job in street photography. Havana Rooftop by Susan Kindley. Beautiful tones of cream-colored buildings with red roofs creates interest. Plenty to see without being too busy. It has a bit of a vignette feel, creating focus on the center of the photo. Although I love the strong focus on the photo and red dome, try to bring out some of the details in the main building. The beautiful architecture gets lost in the shadows. This is merely a suggestion of another way to print. Ah, Springtime by Jim Kendall. Exquisite balance of springtime colors shushing through contrasting darks and horizontal lines, with the pop of the one small vertical subject in complementary colors. This photo goes beyond the beauty of nature or a landscape with the addition of the child. Now a story is formed. Youthful child among a youthful spring setting, adding the sense of innocence, beauty, and freedom. No improvements necessary. Your photo and matting are gallery worthy. Masters Color. El Yunque by Richard Stern. Nice landscape composition with lush greens, blue sky, and fluffy clouds. The water with the boats creates a mood of relaxation and a casual life. The one person at the edge of the water creates added interest within the landscape. Excellent printing on foam core. The bushes in the bottom right corner are a little too bright and overpowering. Bali Valley by J. Hoppenstein. Strong golds and greens brought out by the use of metallic paper. Clouds mixed in with the mountain and the cross just left of the center add interest. The soft, natural light glowing on the cross in the valley accentuates it, making it the center of attention. Excellent exposure. The mixture of clouds and mountains at the top right seems confusing. Try cropping a little tighter. Grand Finale Over the Magic Kingdom by Jason Ware. I like the deep black background with frozen fireworks. White fireworks against the black background can be challenging, but the exposure appears perfect. The glimmer of the people in the foreground adds a human touch and creates interest. Work to brighten the bottom of the castle just a tad. Looking Up Number 1 by Steve Donovan. Excellent converging lines and reflections. The buildings are perfectly balanced with the cloudless sky as a background. Exudes symmetry without being too symmetrical. The image seems a little too flat and dark. Bring up the exposure, add some contrast, or print it on another type of paper such as luster. Fall in New Mexico by Michael Farnham. Strong golds shine through the dark mountains. Excellent composition, balancing the foreground and the background. Try to pull out the shadows or brighten the upper third of the photo. There needs to be just a tad bit of detail in the mountains. A white mat would help the golds to pop. Water Lilies by Larry Petterborg. Striking combination of reds, greens, and blacks, framed by a pure white mat, makes this photo pop. It has excellent depth of field, capturing the curve of the lily pads. Try cropping the photo to place the flowers a little more off-centered into 1/3 of the photo for a more balanced composition. Highlander by Alan Whiteside. Excellent lighting and exposure with sharp focus. Good capture of a story mixing old fisherman ways in a modern day time. Great composition with the entire boat filling the frame. Nice matting. The orange-red tones seem a little overpowering. Light and Shadow by Mike Hill. Perfect exposure on the lighted areas, taking care not to blow out the petals facing the light. I like the complementary colors of the red flower with barely visible green stem against the black background. Beautiful depth of field putting strong focus on the lighted petals and making the darker ones softer. Nice white matte balances the darkness of the photo. Great title. Highway Decor by Gary Kelly. Shades of colors are beautiful, giving a natural glow from the sunlight. Nice leading lines in the clouds. Excellent exposure and composition. Creative title. Try a white matte to make the colors pop more. Brick House by Tina Arms. Metallic paper makes the bricks and window pop. There are stunning shades of reds and oranges in the brick. Excellent composition with the balance of horizontals and verticals, and the window slightly off-center. The jagged brick and broken window create a story. The metallic paper makes the story an exciting one. New Mexico Road by Aaron Reeves. Great balance of colors, red dirt, blue sky, white clouds, in a superbly composed photograph. Excellent choice of depth of field, showing details throughout the photo. Although it is printed in matte, it has a 3D feel to it. Nice choice of putting it on foam core, leaving it open. No recommendations for improvement. Sandhill Cranes by Jan Dreskin-Haig. The golden glow hitting the water, grass and sky evokes warmth and a sense of serenity. Excellent contrast of the 3 white cranes against the glowing grass and water. Beautiful horizontal lines with the separation of the vertical birds. The ducks in the background add interest to an already compelling moment in time. Great choice of paper. Tree Legs by Jim Walsh. The lighting and the contrast within the tree roots bring them to the forefront. The legs hold my attention with all the shapes, twists, and turns. The composition of having the roots flowing over into the right side gives the tree a feeling of creeping away like a sand crab. Excellent matting with the extra space between the photo and the mat. Try cropping it tighter, about an inch or 2 on the top, to get rid of the lanky tree trunk and put more concentration on the roots. There are many opportunities with this photo. Denmark Boats by Hugh Adams. Beautiful monochrome feel with just enough color for interest. I like the deep vignetting surrounding soft highlights on the boats. Holds a sense of mystery of not knowing what the viewer is seeing with the dark tones. Only the title gives away what the true image is. Excellent exposure and composition. No improvements necessary. Sunset near Pecos, Texas by Steve Reeves. Excellent soft tones of sunset, evoking the feel of the end of the day or end of an era. Tells a compelling story of what was once had and what has been lost. Try to make the building just a tad brighter. Try to get creative with the title. Low Clouds and a Tree by Kay Hargis. Exceptional job of capturing the tree clearly with the low clouds in the background. Striking lush greens with vertical gold grass shoots shows spring is in the air, while the tree contains no leaves. Superb composition with the mixture of horizontals and verticals, placing the tree off-center. Excellent exposure. The photo evokes a sense of mystery and intrigue with the low clouds, bare tree, and spring grass. No improvements necessary. Patented 1911 by Dennis Fritchie. Exceptional tones and lighting on a simple subject, something out of the ordinary, taking a basic machine and creating intrigue with the lighting and cropping. Good choice of matte color. I love the extra space between the print and the matte. Great title. No improvements necessary. Beginner's Monochrome Prints. Owl Butterfly Dining. Composition is well executed with the use of thirds, leaving an open area for breathing room. There is good sharpness around the eye of the butterfly, making the photo pop. Great contrast, good solid matte with backing. Focal point. Strong use of angles and lines, shades of black and white, and the use of thirds. The printing choice is well executed. Could use a little bit more contrast to help separate the blacks and whites in the squared window. The tree at the base of the triangle is out of place. You could improve the image by cropping it out. Urban Angler. Great composition with sharp focus on the subject and play of verticals, horizontals, and use of thirds. Good choice of white matte. You could crop it tighter for more impact on the subject. Try capturing the angler's expression for a more compelling photo. Waiting by Lola Laird. Great play of shadows and light gives the sense of softness evoking memory. Beautiful light hitting on the moss and the top of the table. It's a perfect title, adding to the sense that the table is waiting for guests. Bring out the table a little more in post-processing. In Plaintive Thought by Donna Griffiths. Strong on impact. It has a sort of 1920s feel with the expression and dress. The graininess lends to a true black and white film print made in the darkroom. I love the contrast of deep blacks and whites. Play around with the grain if it is a digital print. I would be curious to know if this was a film print or a digital print, and was the graininess created with purpose. Exploring Ruby Beach by Jim Stull. I like the soft tones of monochrome with the fog and water. There is a strong style of composition with the person in thirds. Verticals and horizontals balance, creating interest. The human element in a landscape and the bird bring the viewer's eyes in full circle. Pull out some of the details in the person and the rock. It evokes feelings of memory and serenity. Phil by Tom Davies. Excellent capture of haphazard look with clothing and hair disheveled. I like the pull of the wrinkles in the skin and eyes looking over the glasses. Great use of depth of field and beautiful natural light. Comical and sentimental. Continue to search for those souls that speak to your heart. Advanced Monochrome. Deco by Delise Foglia. Good play of light and shadows with the direction of the sun. Good use of angles with interesting lines as in light hair against dark background and vice versa on the opposite side. The subject is in sharp focus. Playing with lights and shadows can be a lot of fun. Take the time to pay attention to the composition. Ladder to the Sky by Steve Havishak. Great play of patterns weaving through the sky with curves and lines, shadows and light. It contains mystery and curiosity. The recommended improvement is a tricky one. Try to balance bringing out the contrast and raising the exposure in the bottom lines while maintaining the sky and not blowing out the top lines or the clouds. Getaway in the Rockies by Hal Summer. Good balance of foreground and background. You have a strong depth of field, putting the building and mountain in focus. I like the sharp lines of the mountain against the sky. There are tiny green dots in the sky on the left of your print. Add a little more contrast in the building to match the pure white matte. Crop out the clouds or have the entire cloud in the image. The Black Place by Don Haig. Beautiful white fluffy clouds against the sky. Good composition with horizontal lines and leading lines to the center of the photo. Lots of different textures. Excellent printing. Use the textures to your advantage by adding a little more contrast and sharpening the rocks. The cream-colored matte creates softness. For more impact, try a white matte. The Red Mill in Black and White by Clinton Kemp. Beautiful tones and contrast, exquisite depth of field with sharpness all around. There is a lot of interest with vertical and horizontal lines. Try cropping a little over an inch on the right and just below the Moulin Rouge sign for the more balanced composition. Storm at Cerro Perdonal by Larry Golden. Exceptional play of clouds and rain and sun. Nice composition, allowing a little more sky than ground, making the rain clouds the main focus. Bring out some of the shadows at the foot of the hills. Mattes should be hinged on the inside so the tape is not visible. Try a desaturated sepia tone with a little less red. Mom, Can I Go Swimming Now? By Jim Kendall. Great depth of field, showing the expression in clear focus. I like the lighting on the seals' faces with a soft vignette around the edges. Slightly off-center focus makes it more appealing. There is a strong textural feel with the balance of a blurred background. It's a perfect title. Maybe bring out some of the shadows in the smaller seal. Although I typically don't like long titles, it's refreshing to see such a clever one. Oops, I Just Ate Your Tulips by Jason Ware. Exceptional depth of field, giving texture to the fur and concentrating on the face, filling the frame. Great choice of print size and choice of printing on board. The amusing expression and larger-than-life size is well balanced with the comical title. No improvements necessary. Looking Through a Window by David Boomstein. The face is so clear I can see the pores. The feminine movement of her hair while wearing a more masculine watch brings out a sense of personality. Nice blurred background. Great tones and contrast with an exceptional example of photojournalism. Strong impact, composition, and technique. Evokes memories of the 1960s and 1970s Life magazine photographs. Reminds me of the works of Henri Cartier-Bresson and W. Eugene Smith and Sally Mann. This could be used for photojournalism and for gallery work. Cuban Man in Open Window by Susan Kindley. Exceptional portrait in soft, natural light. It has a bit of a sepia tone feel, enhancing the color of his skin while also having a pure black background. The light hitting gently across the man's face captures the distinct curve of the hairs in his whiskers, nose, and eyebrows. His eyes and expression tell a story of a man who has seen many things in his life, a man with a gentle soul, beautifully matted in a tone that brings out the softness and color of his skin. No improvements are necessary. Masters Monochrome. Out of Santa Elena Canyon by Dennis Fritchie. Beautiful textural shades and contrast. I love the way the foreground pops. Excellent printing and matting. The space between the matte and the print adds definition. Pull out some of the shadows in the middle. Make sure it remains darker than the sides. Your paper and matting choice is an excellent complement to the photo. A Dallas Reflection by Kay Hargis. Interesting, unique view of an iconic place in DFW. It's an excellent play with the mind of what is right side up and upside down, what is real and what is mirage. Good tones and contrast, good title. Try pulling some of the shadows out. Synchronized Clock Towers by Steve Donovan. I love the movement of the everyday people walking by an artistic masterpiece of a building. Beautiful soft clouds against a strong building, great composition. The building and the foreground appear a little underexposed. Try pulling out the shadows in order to see the details of the church and people. White Rock Landing by Michael Farnham. Elegant symmetry in the bird's wings with strong contrast and a soft water background. Nice exposure and composition. Excellent job on the mat, adding to the narrow photo with the extra wide top and bottom. The yellow in the mat tends to make the print look darker. Try a mat with a more textural paper, such as watercolor paper. Benedictine Abbey of Christ in the Desert by Larry Petterborg. Beautiful tones with soft clouds and rigid rocks. Natural light adds texture. Good balance of highlights and shadows. The silhouette of the crosses stand out against the sky. It has a good, strong feel of ancient times. The white mat brightens the photo. The shadows on the bottom could be brought out just a tad. Red River Bridge by Aaron Reeves. Nice contrast of sky and bridge without it being blown out. Accentuated lines of the bridge make the photo pop. The unrestrained printing on the black foam core adds to the feel of the bridge, continuing on to the other side of the landscape. Beautiful paper choice and tones. The foreground is so vast, it needs to be toned down a bit to keep from competing with the bridge. Namibia Dune 45 by Mike Hill. Great cropping and use of composition with the tree in the foreground, dunes in the middle, and the addition of human interest within a landscape at the top. Perfect lighting at the rim of the dunes. Nice mixture of horizontal and vertical lines. Parts of the tree and the ground below the tree appear overexposed. Work on your highlights in those areas. Queen Anne's Lace by Tina Arms. The paper choice makes the flowers pop and shine, giving a sense of energy and intrigue. Excellent depth of field, adding softness by having the edges of the flowers blur into the background. I would like to see this with a white or light ivory mat and maybe printed on matte paper for a different mood. Church at Dubina by Gary Kelly. The highlights around the steeple and clouds add a vignette feel. The church pops off the paper with the way each board in the church stands out. The tones, exposure, and printing quality are all excellent. Perfect paper choice. The mat has some dirty spots on it. A white mat might give it a different mood. Truck on a Bridge, Rio Grande Gorge by Steve Reeves. Excellent tones and contrast in a landscape with the added interest of an old truck. Highlights and shadows work well together. Nice choice of black foam core. There is an area on the top right that looks like a scratch. I'm not sure if it was made pre or post print. Try to get creative with the title. Highland Home by Sharon Collins. The soft sky and hills giving a foggy appearance while adding strong contrast in the foreground with the building and the land around the water adds interest. The play between vertical and horizontal work well together. The tone creates a sense of mystery. There's a contrast between ancient building and modern people and boats. A different approach might be if you cloned out the boat and people to give it more of an ancient move. Louvre No. 3 by Richard Stern. Strong sense of lines creating intrigue and curiosity in what exactly is being viewed. Mystery makes the viewer investigate farther. Beautiful composition and excellent exposure. Abstract. No improvement necessary. Sharing by Jim Walsh. The tones and contrast give texture to the horse's coat. I want to reach out and pet them. Beautiful reflection in the eyes. Superb paper choice. Matting is beautiful, adding space between the photo and the mat. The tone of the mat matches well with the photo and is still gallery acceptable. Take care not to cut off important parts of the subject. The ear being cut off is a little distracting. Add a light vignette for a different look. Walking Stick by Sunil Mehta. Strong contrast, bringing out the wrinkles in the hands, and soft tones enhance the mood. Excellent composition of the hands together on the cane. This photo tells a compelling story. The two rings create wonder of a possible lost love in old age, a sense of fragility and the slowing down of the human body as it ages. Excellent title. Asleep on the Job by Jay Hoppenstein. The hair, whiskers, and hands come to life while the expression adds emotional attachment to the subject. The paper choice lends well to the subject matter. The photo has a heartwarming storytelling aspect to it that captures the viewer immediately. Bring some of the vignetting out of the bottom of the photo. The fact that the man has taken off his shoes and is wearing patterned socks is an important aspect to the story the photo creates. It is lost in the heavy vignetting. Canadian Snow Geese by Jan Dreskin-Haig. Exceptional cropping and matting. Unique creamy tones are beautiful. Intrigue and curiosity is created by the movement of the birds, first as a group and then individually. There's a softness in the clouds and mountains, while the contrast in the water makes it pop. No improvements are necessary. Vancouver Railroad Tracks by Hugh Adams. A sense of mystery and intrigue is created by the shadows along the sides of the tracks. Beautiful tones and soft contrast. The lines of the tracks pop off the paper. Excellent composition and exposure. The mat adds to the mystery of the photo with its creamy tone and extra wide sides. It is gallery ready. No improvements are necessary. The Roper by Alan Whiteside. Absolutely stunning. Excellent choice of paper and printing in matte, giving texture to the clouds. The desaturated sepia black and white tones create warmth and interest. The viewer can easily move around the photo, seeing the rider and the horse pointing in toward the rest of the photo and ending with the calf in the foreground. The texture of the horse's tail and mane jump off the paper.